We are going to get started. We have a few people who have joined, even though many more had signed up originally last week. The topic obviously is something of concern to a lot of people. So let us see what we can. This is not a webinar on anything. It is a meeting, discussion, and I'm hoping that we don't have to take up the whole 1 hour. We can take up whatever time it needs for us to have discuss a little bit about this the problem of air pollution. I'm going to put up the at least the topic on the screen and maybe start jotting some ideas from you all. It's of course this is what triggered it, but it's part of a larger problem, and I'm going to add the word engineering education. Because that is what we are trying to do as part of ICTIEE, is improve the quality of engineering education. So let us be very clear that we are not going to we're not trying to solve the problem of air pollution. There are many more people, it's an issue that many people are probably already addressing, and maybe not, but our little sphere of influence is engineering education. So as I always maintain that we all have our circle of influence. We can talk about all these lots and lots of things which we have no influence over, but it's better to focus on our own sphere of influence, and that is what we have as engineering educators. And now that we have spent a few years understanding how we can work with various colleges in India and try to improve the quality of their engineering education, and we're beginning to see a little progress in the last 10 years. So the discussion today is about air pollution in India, which is of course a symptom of much larger things all over India, all over the world in fact, and engineering education. So that's really the focus. So I'm going to go around. The way we're going to do this is I'm going to unmute each one of you who has joined one by one and get your thoughts. Just a minute or two, or whatever you think appropriate, or you can just pass. I say, okay, I don't have anything to contribute, and that's fine too, because you might just be here just to listen, and maybe that will trigger some thinking after you have listened for a bit. So let's do that and try that out. See what we come up with. Okay, so I notice Ajit Shukla from RK University is with us. I'm going to go alphabetically here. Ajit Shukla, Anil Kulkarni, Bala. Then we got Muralinath, Nirali, Pratibha, and then Sudarshan and Venkat Kamalakar, and others I'm sure will join in the list as we go along. So let me just start with Ajit Shukla from RK University. Hello Ajit, can you have audio? If you don't have audio, you can just text.
Can you listen me?
Yeah, we can hear a little bit. Yeah, go ahead, Ajit.
Okay. So this is a hard problem to solve. What I see, like it is something like an inflation that you are a part of a traffic jam, but you cannot do it. But I think few things at our end which we should always try is the awareness among the students there. We have an environmental audit cell, so they are other schedule 1 auditor, so they do and find out and measure and give certificates. So it's a problem there, deep-seated, but I think it's too much spread there, and so brings in the government and legislation also around there. So it's a difficult thing, but we cannot avoid it. That's what I see that is all.
Let us not just assume it's only in Delhi, because Ajit, I think it's going to happen in other cities. It's going to come to Rajkot. It's going to be a problem in Rajkot in a few years. So everybody does not have to converge on Delhi and try to solve their problem. Everybody can solve their own problem in their own backyard. So that's really But go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I see, yeah, it's like a problem which has been coming and too often to us there. So not only North India there, but any other places there. We are little fortunate here in Rajkot. We don't have much of that. Little, uh, you can say, environmental friendly industries are there. But water is a problem to us. So it is not like that only air pollution is there, but there can be other kind of things are there. So what I see that which is like do like what we can do is there, and is more of awareness in terms of seeing connecting with the society, training, and then measuring, and then predicting that okay what can be the problem solutions there. So preempting some solutions, that is what I feel that we can do. And as an institute, we have a capacity, that's what I said, environmental audit. So we are really actually going and measuring it, some of the industries there. Uh, Fortunately, I'm actually happy to tell you that there was an environmental audit, what do you say, the smart city concept for Rajkot. And they started with putting up webcams to the traffic junctions. So it has dual purpose of security and trying to manage the traffic. And it has a PM2 and PM10 measurement as well there. So this is getting integrated. It's an Intel project there. Rajkot is on the way to see during the city. But if you see the contribution from traffic, the pollutant to PM 2.5 and 10, uh, here it may be major, but in Delhi I am little doubtful that how much it will be just a traffical contribution there. So which is maybe coming from more of the paddy burn and more of the construction activity, that kind of things are there. Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ajit. I'll get back to you. We'll go to Anil Kulkarni next and see what Anil Kulkarni from Penn State University has to say.
Good morning. Can you hear well?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's such an interesting problem because right now we have snow outside on the ground, and in other parts there are different things. But I think it's absolutely important that we address this in our own capacity. We are in the business of engineering education, and we have this collective expertise, strength. So we should be doing something about it. Well, I think we should. One of the ways we can do is we focus on two groups of this population spectrum. One is the policymakers and those who can do that, and other is general public and the users. One thing we can do is we can prepare some focused snippets or 1 day, 2 day type of intensive courses which are delivered either in person or electronically through TV or whatever else in educating the people. That is, what is PM2, for example? What is PM10? Maybe we know it, but some of the IAS officers may not know, or the public, many of them may not know what it is and what it does. So we can prepare kind of in simple, plain English type of this either video lectures or personal lectures or a set of that. I spent a semester in Norway 3 years ago exactly, and my main topic was indoor air pollution. And indoor-outdoor air pollution is kind of highly connected because imagine in place like Delhi or anywhere in the US, wherever, indoor pollution has a baseline of outdoor pollution, and then we typically add to it. Whether you have a chula with open combustion of biomass and coal or whatever else that you're producing, it adds to that. So indoor pollution is where, and also we are longer periods in indoor than outdoor. So that is what really that has very grave health effects. People should know what is pollution about? What is air quality? What are pollutants? What are sources? How you detect them? How you measure? What are the acceptable levels? What are the health effects? And how do you mitigate that? So the idea is that education. I mean, you can call it engineering education of pollution as to what it means, what are the effects, and more we know about it, more will we be inclined to do something about it. There are, of course, other problems like water quality, food contamination, and other things. Now, another way of approaching this is scientific research, but that is a lot more complicated. It is very expensive. It is a long-term thing. So the first thing that comes to my mind in a relatively short term, I'm talking about 5-10 year horizon type of thing, is that we kind of educate both the people and the policymakers, and they happen to be in Delhi too, but not just central government, but state governments. So, I mean, that's my kind of first take on it.
Very good, Anil. I think that gives some really good food for thought, because that's something concrete, specific that IUC we can all try to do, because if everybody creates one small snippet, it adds to lots and lots of good information for everybody to use.
And we have tremendous collective strength and expertise in that.
Yes. So perhaps we can think in that direction, and also maybe there's already some some snippets out there available, and we may be able to consolidate those. Thank you, Anil. I'll go to Bala Ajampur. Vijay Kanabar also has joined, so I'm going to go to Bala. We're going alphabetically, so I'm going to Bala Ajampur. Bala, go ahead, from Australia.
Hi everyone. I hope you guys can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. I'm just listening to this, the air pollution problem. It is not only limited to Delhi, but we have different kind of solutions. I'm from Bangalore, so we had a similar problems in Bangalore. And I'm over in Victoria, in Melbourne. We have something called thunderstorm asthma, which is again a kind of air pollution with pollen count being high, and people suffering from different, allergies, having a high risk of, having asthma attacks. So this is not, to be taken lightly. So I would look into, I don't know whether how many, authorities in the Indian government has done analysis over the past decade, whether collect some enough data to see how the air pollution levels have increased, or how much by a percentage or whatever, and on each year, and then kind of look into the kind of causes around that framework, because we don't know whether sometimes it is increased by 5%, sometimes it is increased by 2%, what caused it, it's the weather pattern, or whether it is some other industries, being active at the time. So those kind of analysis should become a part of the research. And then the students who would be kind of presenting papers be encouraged to cover the topic and present papers on that aspect, and just to increase the awareness among not only the community but also the educators as well. And I don't know what kind of tools available at this point in time back in India to do that, because I believe that some of the satellite images have done a lot of work in finding water spots and all that around hidden water spots, and then people have leveraged that to get water out. And I don't know whether similar techniques can be used to find out the air pollution intensity or density of that. So some of the things that are kind of coming to my mind, and this is a little large scope. If India can take the lead on this one, it can even solve the problems around the world, and we can be leaders. Just because there's a problem, we should not ignore it, and we will kind of leverage that to become leaders in that, and then have the entire community to work around it, and we can start providing solutions to the world. I mean, I would look that way.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Bala. So I'm going to go to Murali Nath if he's wanting to. And again, all of those, if you have spoken already but would like to add, just continue to text to us so I can read them out at some point. Patimala, Muralinath, would you like to say something?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
We can hear you.
An
please.
Interesting topic.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sir, it is a very interesting topic related to the pollution in Delhi, and especially not speaking only in Delhi, many parts of entire India are getting polluted. One thing has already the point which you have highlighted is awareness is the main thing which has to be inculcated to each and every person, and let us say mainly to the farmers after the waste which is being liberated, especially instead of burning them or just going in that way. Apart from the preparation of something like manure, again it can be reused for farming purposes and something. So this especially can be made as awareness, especially to them, as well as coming to the automobile point of view. The maintenance of buses, trucks, heavy loaded vehicles have to be taken care. In the absence of maintenance, where they are releasing lot of smoke and the engine is not in a proper condition, these are some of the main aspects I think. And the solid waste which are left over near the banks of rivers, they are not getting decayed. Maybe corporation not taking points related to that are some of these points where definitely it is influencing the pollution related to this state. And this can only be done, as you have mentioned, like awareness where students, engineers, and they can come with the good projects related to biodiesel, such kind of things. If that get implemented, or the vehicles related to electronics, which is running totally on by rheostat or battery purposes, that can definitely solve the problem in means of transportation. This is my view, sir.
So, which institution are you with, Muralinath?
I'm associated with RK University, sir, Rajkot.
Oh, you're also RK University. Excellent. Very good. Very good. So, yeah, thank you very much. So, keep texting if you'd like to add some more. But that is an excellent thing. We're looking at all the various causes of pollution, like automobiles, farmers, solid waste, etc., and trying to educate people about it.
Unmuted.
We're going to Nirali, Kanani. After that, we go to Pratibha, Satyendra Bhatt, and Sharan Asundi. But right now, we're with Nirali, Kanani. I realize that some of you may not have audio, and so Nirali, sounds like you may not have an audio. Maybe you can do some texting. We have not because I'm not hearing any audio sounds from your end. So Nirali, if you're listening, and I assume you are, so please either find a way to communicate by audio, or I'm going to move on right now. But you can text me, and we can read.
Muted.
Okay. On to Pratibha again, another one of our participants from Australia. Pratibha, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This is an interesting topic, as it was mentioned before. I fully agree with Anil, who has brought about the idea of educating the policymakers and also the users. I would say it should start from the beginning, like even starting from schools and colleges, universities. It should reach every common man. And one of the ways that it can be done is through the educational field. Just putting all the facts and the effects of pollution on human health and also on the environment, if everything could be condensed into a flyer, maybe an A3 sheet flyer or something like that, and distributed to all institutions. And engineering students can have a kind of a community workshops wherein they would be going into the community places and also schools and other places where they would be talking about the effects of pollution. That would be the beginning step, I would feel, mainly to disseminate the information. It's not only useful for the policymakers to know, but also as Anil once again mentioned, how it takes place. The pollution starts in the inside the house, and then it spread out at the outer world. It is better for every individual to know what they are doing is right or wrong before they can worry about the bigger problem. So that is the first step, I feel. Secondly, I would be looking into the curriculum as well. What kind of an importance is given to the environmental issues like this in the school, university, engineering education curriculum? If it is below the university level, then it should be just an awareness. But as Bala mentioned, if it is at the higher education level, definitely more research is required. And what kinds of methodology that they are going to use in order to get the true picture of where the problem actually lies and what needs to be done. I think for the time being, I would stop with these two suggestions. And let us see how it goes further. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Pratibha. Really appreciate that. So we are beginning to see some common themes emerging. One is the educating the general public through awareness types of activities, which actually engineering students can actually participate and initiate and do. And then the other we are seeing is that some kind of a curriculum research kind of activity. I'm going into more in depth with just the causes and how to spread that awareness. I'm going to look in quickly. I've got some comments from Vijay, but I'll read that out in just a bit. But first, let me go down to Satyendra Bhatt and then Sharan and then Vijay. Okay, we go to Satyendra Bhatt. Satyendra, would you like to jump in? Satyendra, do you have audio? Satyendra Bhatt, if you have audio and you're able to talk, I've unmuted you. And if not, maybe you can do some texting. It'd be nice to hear your voice though. Okay, so Nirali, Kanani, Satyendra, both of you I think seem to be not able to talk audio, and let's go to Sharan. Are you there? Okay, again, we're looking for you to be to actually contribute to the discussion, not to just silent spectators. So I'm hoping that is why you've joined. And if you have audio, we are trying to get you to speak something. If you don't have audio, getting you to do some texting. We're going to go to Vijay Kanabar. Vijay, you want to say something? You've texted, I know, but you can talk. I've unmuted you, Vijay. Do you want to talk, or should I read out what you sent?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, go ahead, Vijay.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'd like to focus on the business case. So have the students do some cost economics. And I think there might be a clear business case for making massive strategic investments. For example, here in the US, we just saw even trucks that are electric being released by Tesla. The trucks are the big pollutants. Certainly electric cars, China has moved in a huge way, trying to go electric. So if that is the investment, obviously the reaction will be, but the students should do a business case and explain from lost tourism, lost business productivity, days off, and there are other losses. If you add up, and health was mentioned in a huge way. If you add up the costs due to health, legal lawsuits stemming from health, if you add all of that up, there might be a very clear business case that making a huge, massive investment will be the way to go. So I think we should challenge people to do the economics, cost-benefit analysis.
So that's great. So this is a different dimension that you have opened up. I think we have talked about one, the public awareness, and second is the actual research into the causes. And what you're saying is make a cost analysis of the effects of all of these environmental issues, and then make a case for strategic investments in new technologies based on research that might be happening in addressing some of these issues. I think that's a excellent point. So, and in all of this, engineering educators, faculty, and students have a role to play. And so that's exactly what we're trying to do today, is talk about things in which engineering colleges and engineering students could have a role to play, and where administrators in these colleges could maybe adapt or transform their curriculum to in a way that their students can do some of these things. in trying to slowly make a difference. Great, excellent. Thank you, Vijay. Let's see if we can get, I guess that pretty much covers everybody who is here today. We have a small, intimate group. So the next question I'm going to raise is, obviously there are, as we are all seeing, the discussion has moved us in three directions, into three possible ways in which engineering education can start making a difference. Let me relate very quickly to a couple of things that I'm. Can I say something? Sharon is saying, okay. Let's see, Sharon. I've unmuted you earlier. Maybe now you've unmuted yourself. Go ahead, say something, Sharon. I have unmuted you.
Hi, Dr. Vedula. This is Sharon.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So just
Sharon, you're from which institution? I forget. I should know.
I'm from Tuskegee University in Alabama.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, Sharon. Yeah.
I also work with PS University back in India. Mm-hmm. So what I do there right now is I actually conduct a course every summer where the course is taught based on a brainstorming idea. Mm-hmm. And the brainstorming idea results in a payload. It's a course in satellite design. Mm-hmm. And if we work with students on the brainstormed idea for a year or so, that I have observed that translates to a solution. Mm-hmm. I think we could possibly adopt a similar model where we offer a course in, let's say, pollution and how to control, essentially a sensor-based course in how to detect pollution, and then brainstorm an idea as to how to solve that, and work with the students there. And once the idea is developed, these days there are some really good programs. We had actually applied for funding with the India Innovation Growth Program to mature our brainstorming idea, and the project was funded. It's a significant funding, and there are multiple stages. And this there's always a category where pollution, air pollution, or any kind of pollution is environmental, and addressing environmental deficiencies is always on one of the categories. I think if we take that approach, if we develop something as a group here, during the summer, go there, offer a 1-month course or so, and then come back and work with students, I think that will yield very good results for both that institution. And here what we can do is we can start with publishing articles, and then once we have the funding, we can develop the engineering model, then go to a company and say, can you manufacture this? I think that'll.
Okay. Very good. Thanks, Sharon. So you're working with the college in Bangalore, and what you do is this is an approach of suggesting, based on your experience, that we can have courses where you engage the students with brainstorming, and then develop some potential solutions to some of these problems, and maybe then try to find a way to implement them through funding agencies and others. Fantastic, great. So let's see. Anybody else wants to add who has not spoken so far? Let's see. Murlinath, Murlinath has spoken already. Nirali Kalani. Okay, so let me step back for a minute, and then we'll do another round, and that should pretty much take care of our meeting for today. So what we have, all of you know, is that we have ICTIEE, an organization with about 50 to 70 colleges that are fairly active. Their faculty and students are fairly active in trying to change their way they are teaching, and to improve the quality of their graduates. And then we also have this conference where we share with each other. some of our experiences, our failures and successes, and the hope, and that results in other people also benefiting from the discussion, and everybody moves forward in a more positive environment. So the question then is, as we come to this, what triggered this discussion is really the big article in the Boston Globe in my case, and I'm sure it's in other newspapers all around. And Michael Milligan in Washington D.C., who is the CEO of ABET, he and his wife Allison and son Austin, 21-year-old son Austin, they had bought their tickets on United. And to come to both the locations of this conference, one in Greater Noida, which is they have to come to Delhi airport for that, and then to Madurai. So that's January 4th to 6th in Delhi area, and 8th, 9th in Madurai area. They had bought their tickets all set. He's a very organized man. He does this well in advance. However, then the United cancelled flights, and as a result of this problem in Delhi. And that made him think seriously about whether they really wanted to come to the Delhi area with that poor quality of air, and so he subsequently has cancelled his trip to come to Delhi, but he will come to Madurai, and so he raised this question that that this is people will start cancelling visits to Delhi, embassies will stop sending good people to the area, businesses, all kinds of things will start impacting, and the overall global economy of India will be seriously hurt if nobody takes any serious action on this particular area. So so he is one example, and then we have again the Stephanie Farrell, who is the president of the American Society, president-elect of the American Society of Engineering Education. I guess she also might have been influenced by these discussions and by this air pollution, and she has also changed her plans to come only to Madurai. She is not planning to come to Noida because again of the air pollution issue. So these kinds of things are going to happen, one by one. The trickle of a few people will lead to large numbers, and that's going to lead to large impact on the economy, on the public impression of what is happening in India and in Delhi and so on. And so all of this is not good. We immediately tried to see if we can see what is the response in India to this. And sometimes what happens is that when problems keep happening close to home, and they're happening every year, we become a little numb to the situation, and so I get the sense that many people, maybe at Bennett University, maybe even in Delhi, even they see these things happening every year, and then they kind of say, well, that's the way it is, and they see the problem is so big, they see, well, what can you do about it, kind of thing, and that apathy is one of our biggest enemies in trying to make slow progress. And so I found that attitude also this time when I talked about this, both Milligan and Michael and Stephanie Farrell to some of the organizers at Bennett University. And so I think we need a little more, we get a little more aggressive in actually taking this seriously. I was reminded of a couple of things. One is some of you might know that of the boiled frog syndrome in systems thinking. If you look at the people who they call back on business schools and other places, they talk about systems and systems thinking, and they use the example that if you take a frog and put that frog into boiling water, it will jump out immediately because it doesn't want to be in boiling water and die. Okay, so if you put, if you take some frog from somewhere and put them in boiling water, they know that is bad for them. But if you take the same frog and put it in room temperature water, and then slowly start heating up the water gradually, And over a period of time, the water gets warmer and warmer, and the frogs start getting used to the increasing temperature, and then maybe start enjoying it, and then eventually the water gets starts boiling, and the frog has become complacent and apathetic towards the increasing temperature, and will just die inside the boiling water. So this is used in systems thinking, and people all in various business schools and so on. I think that maybe to some extent, I think maybe there is that problem. Maybe even in India, in general, anywhere in all of us, we have the same problem of when we look at problems around us. I'm wondering if that's something that we have to think in that direction and try to address. Maybe do something to shake the apathy. And then I was looking at thinking back to Tokyo. The situation in Tokyo, we had a global conference this was in Florence a couple of years back when the president of the University of Tokyo talked about the pollution in the city of Tokyo 20 years ago. I think this was he started off his talk by showing a picture of Tokyo about 25 years ago. And then the next slide was the picture of Tokyo today, and so you could see the huge difference in the improvement of the quality of the atmosphere of Tokyo in the 20 years. So it takes time, and 20 years ago, somebody in Tokyo, somebody in Japan decided that they must do something about it, and systematically do lots and lots of small things that add to the solution. And they're able to do it. So it's just really, it can be done. People have shown it can be done. It just takes willpower and systematic effort, and hopefully the powers to be, the policymakers, as well as the common people and everybody in India and other countries take some of these types of problems more seriously and begin to address them, because we owe it to to the future generations. So with that, I'll go back one by one and get some thoughts on what perhaps we can do. Already some discussions have resulted in some general thoughts on what we can do. If we did have a session in Greater Noida, and I'm thinking that if more and more people start canceling, we'll have a lot of time on our hands. That whoever is attending there will have a lot of time to have this discussion. So I want to focus on what can we do at this conference. And use that as a way to get some thoughts, and then we can end the meeting today. Okay, at ICTIEE 2018. Okay, so that is the question that I'm asking the people who are here today to talk a little bit about it. And I think Ajit Shukla had to leave, so I'm going to go to Anil Kulkarni, and again the same sequence. Anil, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, just a first quick comment. I think United canceled the flights only temporarily for last few days. I think they're still selling tickets to go to Delhi at the time of the conference. So I hope people don't kind of
No, I think you're right, Anil. But the point is that it is the health issue. I mean, sure, United has resumed it. The fact that it has had even to stop it for 2-3 days means there's a serious problem.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's why people like Michael Milligan want to be cautious, and Stephanie Fire want to be cautious. Say January, you don't know. So that's
usually that is the beginning is very small in small steps. But yeah, you're right. But at the conference, I think maybe we can have a kind of a separate session or something where, or more than that, we can ask people to do something concrete. For example, I mean, I think I would like to produce 5-minute or 10-minute long videos, and or something that is catchy and in more in plain English and maybe even animated or something. If I can get help from somebody. We have a lot of material on different aspects of this pollution, and if we can do that, and then we can start sending it out, to either first to students, but even to general public on TV or to policymakers. That okay, this is what happens if you show in an animated way how asthma triggers with with pollution, it's very revealing, and people will start thinking about it when it is in pictures.
Mhm.
So we should, then maybe we can recruit
Yeah.
people for that purpose and make kind of groups of 5, 10, 25 people who are interested in producing such things.
Okay, very good idea. It's a very concrete suggestion. Either we can do it beforehand, or maybe have a discussion at the conference about making this a project, IUC project for a longer term duration, maybe, which can then, depending on what time is available right now. Great. I'm going to go to Bala next. Bala.
Yes, it takes me back to Rabindranath Tagore's Shantiniketan kind of idea. Just teaching everybody under the tree and makes difference. The very fact that at ICTIEE this conference, if we can, I don't know whether we can build a small area with a park or something like that, and make that a secluded area, and let people walk through the park and see the difference in the outside and versus what is inside, and let them feel, breathe the difference, and then let them understand, okay, we can do this. Okay, if we can do at this particular conference, it can be done at a larger scale. If it can be, like built to scale, it can be. If we can make them feel that, that's the best way for them to understand, what we are talking about air pollution. So because we have to have one area which is polluted air, the other area which is completely fresh, and then that's the only way we can probably make that drastic, impact at the conference for everyone going through that one. That leaves them a lasting memory of what has happened, and that may make them to think otherwise. Because when I was a kid, I was told, "Hey, look, what can you do about it? We have to be. Everybody should be born rebellion and ask questions. Like why so, and what can be done about it." And that is the thing that we have to come somehow to build into the minds of everyone who is coming to the conference.
Yes, great idea. So that's again something like a actual hands-on. I think what we're seeing is that the educational pedagogy is being demonstrated in these comments. The one is the using animations and and short clips to convince people, and now this is a hands-on, experience it yourself, and then see what you should do. Let's go on to Muralinath. Would you like to add something to this?
Hello.
What can we do at ICTIEE? What question? Please go ahead, Muralinath.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, in one of the articles I have read that a plant in a house is a stepping stone for the success of the society. So maybe by listening this and with the concept of this ICTIEE conference and involving several different steps of education in this thing, apart from that, taking this concern, environmental concern in this conference definitely plays a crucial role. And what I'm thinking is, if saplings are distributed to some of the personnel, let us say those who visit to this conference, so that definitely enlightens them, and it definitely speaks a lot indirectly or directly to this thing, and it starts spreading gradually it starts taking spread. So this is my point, sir. So spreading the saplings is one of the ideas where we can symbolically say, like saving Mother Nature is a very important aspect.
Okay, that's a nice idea. Maybe that's what. Let's see if we can help the host institution to find a way to do that. Excellent, great. Again, that's a visual, demonstrable thing that can have an impact. Thank you so much, Muralinath. We're going to go to
unmuted.
Able to say anything? I mean, last time around you were not able to say anything. So if you want to say something, please go ahead. I will come back and read some of the comments that are coming up. I'm not
muted
from Nirali. So Pratibha, your comments. What can we do at ICTIEE?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
With regards to ICTIEE next year, I'm really interested in having a miniature brainstorm session as mentioned by Sharan Asundi. He was talking about a course. Maybe we won't have time to do a course within 2 or 3 days. However, we can have a small session to see whether the budding engineering educators in front of us would be able to come up with a project or how they would be dealing with their students in projecting this problem to them as educators. Whether they're going to use the brainstorm session with them again, or what kind of a project that they would be coming up with. This could be done in groups, 2 or 3 engineering educators to work together to come up with an action plan for 1 semester course, and to see how they would implement this idea of educating the commoners or the policymakers, or as Anil said, creating a video, animated video, or full of facts and effects, anything related to pollution. If they could come up with a project, if they could design or come up with a curriculum, so that they can implement it straight away in the new year or in the new semester, we can see its effectiveness, whether it works and whether it does what it should do. Maybe that could be a workshop kind of a session that we may have.
Very nice. I like the idea. So Pratibha, thank you so much. I'm going to move on now to Satyendra Bhatt, who's went offline, unfortunately. Sharon, any last comments, and then Vijay, and that will pretty much take us to the end of this session today. Sharon, anything you want to add?
Yes, what I like what Pratibha suggested. I would also go to the extent of maybe holding a small competition and just motivating the participants to come up with. And I don't think we need not limit the participants to students. We can invite the faculty members as well, and then whoever comes up with the best idea, have a panel discussion along with this brainstorming this thing, and then try to support whatever ideas come through, at least the first 3 or 5 ideas. Try to say take up this as one of the goals of IUs, and work with the students whoever comes up with the good idea, and then see what happens in a year's time.
Excellent, great. And let's now go to Vijay. Comment again. I see you've been texting things. Please go ahead, Vijay, but talk.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see some tangible outcome. This is a golden opportunity. So I like the discussions like the last one and earlier on.
I think your audio is a little bit weak.
Oh, okay. I like the discussion on coming out with something tangible, like small video clips, which we can upload to YouTube.
Yeah.
So you have, it's easy to do with cameras, cell phone cameras, students, teams, faculty, experts. So we can have some tangible video dialogue. We can upload on YouTube. I can show leadership staff.
Yeah, great.
So, for example, in the US, we have, I've given the link, in the US, we have reformulated gasoline to solve pollution since 1990. So, they use ethanol here. So, even a 1-minute video talking about how this solves the problem in the Boston area and 9 other large cities in the US. In 1990, we started using this. It's an additive in gasoline. Increase the gas price by 3 cents. But that policy made a huge difference in the quality of air. But different people talking about something.
Yeah.
Then what you really have is a web page with nice 3-minute video clips,
right,
and solutions. We should have a clear agenda so people know who is going to talk about what aspect. Who is going to talk about cost-benefit analysis? Who is going to talk about damage on health? Who will talk about how China is showing leadership? They have the same problems, if not worse, but they are solving the problems. So what we really have is some real tangible results from all of this excitement.
Great. So Bala has a quick comment, and then we're going to close. Bala, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Just when people are talking about the projects and everything, I thought of idea about many people have heard Go Hack, where the event is organized by the government to attract the young mind to come up with the solutions, given that they have the data available to. So the data is open data kind of concept, and also a big data. So the people really work with it, with the projects, and provide solutions. And then the winners are announced and they were honored. A similar kind of event can be established for air hacks. Some call it air hack. And then it's very focused hacking only to address air pollution. And we can have competitions around the cities, and then have that as a what we call winning model to present in the end to the government to take up a infrastructure project or something like that.
Okay, excellent ideas, everybody. I think we've got some thought, some good things to think about for the conference itself. So I'll kind of reflect on that, and maybe have us at least at a minimum we'll have us one session where we'll do a little brainstorming and come up with some simple action plans, and that probably so many other things that we talked about will become part of that. We don't have time to really plan for anything significant, get people engaged and significant, but let us see how we can do that. So thank you all for getting for joining us at various odd times of the day. For each one of you is different in your own way, and I appreciate that. So we will say Jai Ho for now, and see you all at some other future meeting, conference, etc. Jai Ho.